Thanks, Tony. It now gives me great pleasure to welcome the Chief Exec of Hpd to talk about the future customer at the heart of strategy. So please welcome Kevin Day.
Well, good morning, everybody, and it's so nice to see so many of you here today. Welcome to Hpd Lendscape 2019. This event is bigger than ever before. It's been a real sale. I think this time we actually had to have a waiting list, so popular as has it been. I'd really like to thank all of you for attending. I know that time is precious, and we do value the time that you're giving us today to come along to this event. So please, I do want you to enjoy the day. We have a lot of things to go through today. The main agenda obviously is about growth factors. As you know, Simon has already mentioned, we've got some really interesting panels. I'm really excited about the panelists we've got. I'm really excited about some of the speakers that we've got. And I want to find out about the future as well. So I think it's going to be really, really interesting. We do have the Hpd Dream Team here today. Oh. Who are they? Yes, so we have the Hpd Dream Team. There's about 50, I think, Hpd employees here today, and they'll be here to show you all the latest technologies that we've been working with, all the latest innovations. I think it's really interesting things we've got around the technology side. We're looking at things around sort of open banking, about how we can work with that. We're working with our friends at Fire. We're also looking at digital onboarding of clients, a new onboarding solution. We've also got things around, again, the whole user experience being really, really important to us, and how users actually interact with systems these days. That's really interesting, I think, the fact that we are looking at voice integration as well. So please do take the time to look at those things and do interact with the Hpd team. Be inquisitive, ask lots of questions, get the most out of the day possible. And I do hope from this you'll all get something that you'll be able to take away, some idea, some little thought that you can take away back to your businesses, back to your markets, to really help drive that growth agenda. And also, we've got representatives from around the world. So here's a huge opportunity for networking, which I think, again, every year we do research on what people value about these conferences. And certainly you do like the opportunity to have a good chat with colleagues in other countries or in other companies and find out what's going on. I think that's a really important thing. In fact, actually, I'm going to mention Jane Jackson, who's just sitting behind me just there, who's come all the way from New Zealand. So, yeah, well done, Jane. So please do network. And again, to mention tonight, we do have the big social event following the conference straight away afterwards. I think we'll all agree we're a work hard, play hard industry. And so we'll get the work hard bit done, and then we'll have a few drinks afterwards as well. So really, please do enjoy the day and really participate, and I hope you get a lot out of it. So just a little bit about Hpd. The previous financial year, we had revenues of 14.5 million. That's a 13% increase on the year before, so we're growing nicely as a business. We've now hit 140 installations of our solution around the world, which I think is really, really good progress. We still have lots of opportunities out there to grow our portfolio of clients. I'd like to welcome all of our new clients. Welcome to the Hpd family, as it were, and hope you'll be clients with us for many years to come. Interestingly, we've literally just signed a contract with Bank of Cyprus, who are an iFactor client since over 25 years. They just signed a contract to move to Lendscape, so hopefully they'll be with us for another 25 years of good mutual collaboration and cooperation and friendship. In terms of employees, we're now at 130 full-time employees, so we're growing nicely. And we're focused on investing in our employees, investing in our business, and investing in our products. We want to maintain our position as market leader in the asset-based finance technical solution space. I was very pleased that Tony got awarded his Lifetime Achievement Award. It just shows how long the company has been involved in this industry. I'm also very pleased that we were awarded the Factoring Technology Solution Provider of the Year at Michael's RFix conference this year. So again, that's the second year in a row, so that was very, very nice to receive that. Always good to receive accreditation from your peers in the industry. So that's enough about us. I've got to mention the B word. I ran a marathon, by the way, last week, so I'm still walking. It's good. Just about. Yeah, the B word, Brexit. Just for a moment. Obviously, Hpd Software, we're hugely important as a strategic supplier to your businesses. Like any UK business, we've been monitoring a constantly evolving situation. We've been taking proactive measures to have strategies in place, dealing with different scenarios that might play out. All I can say at the moment is, we believe we'll be very much business as usual. Our priorities very much are to protect our workforce, to be able to service our clients, and to be able to be strong should there be any economic downturn at all. And these things we're all very positive about. If anybody has got any questions around Brexit, please feel free to ask questions. Happy to have a conversation about it. At the moment, we're very much in the hands of our lovely politicians. So we have to wait and see what happens. So that's enough about Brexit for now. But again, happy to have a chat if anybody wants to talk about it some more. I'm sure most of us are probably bored to death of the subject. So, on to today's topic then, growth factors. So, we believe that there's a real opportunity for the asset-based finance industry to grow. As I say asset-based finance, I'm covering factoring, invoice discounting, supply chain finance, single invoice finance, pre-shipment finance, purchase order finance, asset-based lending, all collectively asset-based finance. We believe there's real opportunities to grow. We think that as a technology provider, we want to be a big part of that conversation with you. As far as we can see, the technology can be an enabler to help stimulate growth, help you to win more business, help you to keep more business, and help us all to grow the markets. So that's the main thing that we want to think about today. If you look at the current numbers, now John Bresch is the master statistician here. He's going to go through all the numbers later on, so hopefully I got these right. He'll probably put me wrong otherwise later on. But if you look at the market generally, the actual numbers in terms of the volumes are growing. So the numbers are doing really well. It's all about growth, and that's across the different countries. However, if you look at the actual numbers of users, number of clients, in the EU, the latest STI figures are there's 208,000 companies using sort of asset-based finance, receivables finance. In the UK this year, it's 40,000. Now in the UK, it previously was 43,000. So there's been a bit of a decline in the UK in terms of the number of users, although the volumes have been growing. So what does that tell us about the market? Now, one thing about the market I think is clear is the fact there's obviously lots of other opportunities coming in, lots of other lending sources. There's obviously also a bit of attraction to moving upstream in terms of the size of the companies that are being funded using this method. But it is interesting, those numbers to me, I'm a little bit kind of my glass half empty. I'd like to see those numbers growing. I've been in this industry long enough that the numbers all seem to stay roughly the same. So that UK number of around 40,000. So one way of looking at any product about how you actually look at the potential for a product is what is the addressable market? And what are the businesses out there that actually could utilize this type of funding? Now, our chairman, Simon Featherstone, our main sort of facilitator for today, when he was at Lloyds Bank many years ago, back in, I think it was about 2010, Lloyds did some nice research on this, and they looked at the market, and they came up with a number of about 500,000 businesses in the UK. That's a UK number, but 500,000 businesses would be a target for this type of financial product, compared to, let's say, the 40,000 companies actually using it today. If we compare that to the recent statistics on number of businesses, there are actually in the UK now about 5.7 million private businesses. That sounds like, so roughly therefore, 500,000 potentials out of 5.7 million, that's around 10% of the businesses could utilise this type of funding. I've looked at these numbers, by the way, also for sort of Germany and France, other big European economies, and the numbers are kind of similar. One thing, though, is very clear, though, as you look at those numbers of businesses, first of all, a huge proportion are micro businesses. A micro business is 0 to 9 employees. Okay, so it's 96%. So 96% of that 5.7 million are micro businesses. I think the average size is about 5 people or something. So that says one thing about the market. The other thing is I looked up was the number of businesses that are actually registered in the UK for VAT or PAYE. In other words, they're running a payroll and employing people. That comes down to 2.67 million businesses. So again, there's a huge proportion of these companies. What are they? What are they? What are they? What are they? So when it comes to addressable market, it's a bit difficult, really. I think that the research that was done in 2010 was excellent. I think there's real opportunity to get research out there again in all markets and look at what is the potential for this product. The next look is what about the competition? So these businesses, what are they using today for funding? I say competition, I'm here waving the flag for receivables finance and asset-based finance. Certainly, the classic bank overdraft, is hugely utilised. Also, we have asset finance, leasing, very commonly used, term loans, so business loans, peer-to-peer lending. So these are the new fintechs, new kids on the block, peer-to-peer lending, invoice finance or auctioning platforms. There's a whole wealth of these kind of fintech solutions now offering funding solutions to businesses. I was in the car the other day driving along, in UK, London, not driving very fast, obviously, but driving along, listening to the radio, and I think every other commercial was for some kind of short-term business loan. So there was, at one hand, there was Barclays at the sort of large bank end, and then there was at the fintech end, there was iWalker. Google how it sounds, iWalker. I've been brainwashed by it, I heard it so many times. Instant working capital. So there are lots of choices out there in the market. And I think every couple of weeks or I get a letter through from Funding Circle offering me, I think it starts off offering me 100,000. Not me personally, Tony's Hpd, by the way. And it went to 200,000. I think we're about 500,000 at the moment. I might give him a call when it gets to 1 million. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. But there's lots and lots of choices out there. And I think that is interesting in this market because you have got competition. And I think we need to look at these products. They're quite simple to understand, quite simple from a day-to-day operational point of view to manage as a business. As a business owner, they're quite straightforward. I think some of the acquisitions that come towards sort of receivables finance, asset-based finance, is that it's complicated. Contractually, it's cumbersome. And I think there are things around the sort of the costing side of things, and around the level of deep involvement that the business has to have to make the actual solution work for them. So I think we need to think about that, think about how the proposition looks, how things perhaps can be simplified in some way to make things more accessible to ordinary businesses. Now, going back to that topic of addressable markets, so how can we actually increase the addressable market? Now, one thing we can do, of course, is to go back again to sort of the traditional view of the kinds of business that we would actually be looking to fund. Obviously, you'd be looking at things like, do they have good collateral? So are the invoices good? Do they have good debtors? What's the creditworthiness of their debtors? If that's not very good, it's probably not going to be very suitable for asset-based finance. Also looking at the type of receivables in terms of, is there performance risk? Or is there risk that for some reason the buyers won't pay? Or is there actually the risk of offsets? So in other words, I won't pay you because you owe me money. And that's why some sectors, for example, we get construction, transportation often get deemed to be unfactorable because they fall into this space. So I think when we talk about addressable market, I think we need to look at how we can actually include more businesses that we can lend money to. So in the addressable market, you have your market share. And of course, like any business, you want to grow your market share. But what I would say to you as well, though, can we grow market share? But at the same time, can we grow the addressable market? So rather than actually recycling the same clients, can we actually go out and bring in new clients new to this type of lending? I think then we can really see the market grow. So what are the options available to grow the addressable market? Well, we can go upstream. We can go to larger corporates. What we can offer larger corporates are solutions like asset-based lending. We can also offer receivables purchase programs. We can offer supply chain finance, so we can fund the suppliers to the corporates by offering the early discount terms on invoices. Not only that, we can go downstream. We can actually fund into the customers of that corporate. We can offer extended payment terms, distributor financing, floor planning. So there are ways that we can actually help the corporate, and we can open up opportunities within that corporate's own its own ecosystem of business. And a lot of our clients actually do this today with Lendscape, so that we do have that technology available. If we look at the other end of the spectrum, at the smaller ticket deals, one of the issues here is that it's difficult. There's a cost to serve issue. Doing business at the smaller end, is it profitable enough? Is there too much effort involved to service those clients at that end of the market? But I bring you back to that number, that 96% of businesses are actually in that small ticket category. So what can you do to provide solutions to that side of the market? And I think the solution is technology. I think it's about optimizing processes, taking cost out of the processes. One of the things that we can do is online and digitalization of the actual onboarding solution. So please take a look at the onboarding solution that we're showing here today to get a feel for how that could look, how we can simplify and actually make it more cost effective, the cost of acquisition, to bring new businesses into our portfolio. The other thing we can do is we can actually automate the capture of data. So in other words, connecting to accounting software and actually automating the pulling of the receivables data directly out of the accounting solution of the clients. Now, our Gemini solution does this, and I'm really pleased to see that there are many companies now adopting Gemini and actually building these links with clients to digitalize the whole process and, again, reduce the cost, but also provide a better service. I think John Wild will touch on this later on in his presentation, but also actually improve risk management as well, because we have all that data we can actually access. So I think there are solutions at that small end of the market, but it does need a fresh look about how you approach it in terms of those cost perspectives to make it really viable. The other thing we can do is we can look internationally, and we can offer services to exporters. We can actually help them to navigate international trade. We can help them to manage foreign exchange. We can help them in terms of how they collect international debt, perhaps using a correspondent factor in Factors Chain International, to actually work with a correspondent in Japan or Vietnam to actually collect invoices overseas. On the importing side, we can offer solutions around purchasing. So we purchase order finance. We can actually facilitate how a company can actually acquire goods from overseas suppliers efficiently, securely, using this type of technology and these kinds of financial solutions. So I think there are ways that we can help international business. I think that, again, with the solution, with Lendscape, we have all the integration with Factors Chain International. We have the ability to do purchase order finance, have the ability to do pre-shipment finance. So you have all of these tools available today. So there are opportunities to expand the international dimension. The other thing then is to look at new market segments. I touched on before about some of those unfactorable sectors, so for example, construction sectors, etc., generally because the type of debt is contractual, it's work in progress invoicing against the contractual term, which may be 12, 18 months long, etc. Construction is one example, IT is another example. Obviously, the risk is this non-performance risk. But again, with the right technology, the right expertise, with an eyes wide open approach, you can actually fund this type of business. Hpd Financial Services, one of our clients, has made great progress in this space. They made it a big part of their business. They specialize in actually how they can actually lend to a particular construction sector. We've worked with Hpd to develop functionality and features within our software to enable you to manage that risk. So there are opportunities there. So I think there's really this idea that there are areas that we can't fund. I think we need to look at how we can fund them rather than just saying no. I mean, transportation, which tends to be a bit of a no-no, say, in the sort of UK market, if you go to the US market, that's a massive part of the US market. Everybody's got a truck in the US. And so they make a big part about it. And obviously, they manage the risks. They manage and put controls in place to make that effective. Other market segments, professional services, offering funding to car repair businesses, offering funding to medical care providers. I think there's all sorts of sort of niche areas that you could pick out and actually create a funding solution for. One of the beauties of Lendscape is, and the way we designed it, is the fact that you can be innovative, you can be creative, you can be agile in terms of creating new service offerings. I was always very impressed with Société Générale Factoring and the way that they approach the markets, how they actually innovate and launch new products. I was going to have lunch many years ago with Philippe Leput. At that time, he was the CEO for the business. About a month before, I looked at their website and they had this great solution called media finance. I thought, wow, media finance, that sounds groovy. I wonder what that is. Literally the day before I went to lunch with Philippe, I looked at the website and it'd gone. Media finance had gone. So over lunch, I mentioned to Philippe, and I said, what's that media finance you were doing? What happened? And he was a bit sort of, well, he said, it wasn't very good. So we stopped doing it. But the nice thing is that they had the ability to innovate, to try something, and actually, and with Agile, the whole concept is kind of fail fast. Get something out there, try it. If it doesn't work, move on, try something else. What he did tell me was the beauty of using Lendscape, the beauty of it was the fact that previously, when they wanted to launch a new product, they had three things to do. They had to do IT, they had to do the contractual, the legal side, and they had to do accounting. And he said IT was always last. He said the beauty of Lendscape now, though, is that IT is not last, it's always first. Because you can actually, out of the box, configure solutions, be creative, be innovative, and actually carve out new opportunities to fund businesses. I think with all these things, though, we still have to remember that we do need to make the financial product simpler and easier to use. Again, if you compare it to the opposition and the competitors out there in the market, we look in particular at the fintechs. They've really kind of, set the bar high in terms of the whole user experience. And I think we really need to learn from that, and we need to make sure our bar is not raised as high, but we surpass that in terms of the whole user experience. And I don't just mean about how easy it is to use a website. Obviously, that's a key part of it. But also about, contracts, making contractual terms simpler. Also looking at terminology, replacing jargon with plain English, or plain language, I should say. So I think there are lots of things we can do to make this financial solution much more acceptable to businesses and make it not a bottom drawer product, a product of, when nothing else fits, let's try receivables finance, but something that's at the top and the forefront of thinking when people are looking at financial solutions. And the next thing is about how do you keep clients for longer? How do you make this type of product, I hate this term, but sticky? How do you get clients to stay with you for longer? And I think one of the things that you have in the asset-based finance world is you really have an opportunity, because you're right at the heart of a business, to really provide value-added services. It could be, for example, outsourcing some of the key components of running a business. Be that running invoicing, payroll, HR, collections, etc. You can take key parts of a business function and say, we'll do that for you. The other thing you can do, of course, is a more consultative approach. You can say, well, actually, we can provide advisory services. We can provide data analytics. We can provide marketing advice. So you can really get within a business in terms of actually how you help businesses to grow and prosper. So I think all these things can make the lifetime value of clients longer. And again, that all helps to increase the overall addressable market size and the overall size of the market as a whole. Now, the good news is, HPD software, we're here to support the worldwide growth of asset-based finance. It's something that we have a passion for. We want to innovate with you. We want to allow you to leverage the technology to really get the best out of the opportunities that you have before you and unlock that potential. We want to be with you to really help to grow this business. And we want you, as you walk around today, hopefully with the growth agenda now firmly in your minds, reflect, have conversations, have some new ideas, which you then take back to your businesses and really help stimulate growth. So my final word is, I want you all to be part of that growth journey. Thank you very much.